Shane Steichen talking to the media today, and he's optimistic about Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner perhaps coming back. You'll hear him say it. Here's Shane Steichen on a Monday.
I'll start off. Carly's, he's going to miss some time. I won't put a timetable on it, but he'll miss some time. Optimistic on Buck returning this week. And then JT, we'll see how the week goes, but very optimistic on JT as well for the week.
Take our first question from Nate.
Hey, Shane, just with all the blitzes that the Dolphins ran yesterday, was that something you guys were anticipating coming into it and just didn't handle well, or did they surprise you with some of those? How did that play out to where they were able to run as many as they did?
Yeah, they did some good things. Look, they're coming off a bye week, and so we saw one unscouted look that they brought that they got us on, but I think Anthony did a hell of a job, not taking the sacks. I think that kind of goes unnoticed a lot of times. He's in the backfield and Ramsey's all over him and spinning out of it and making a play to have to throw it away or getting out of the pocket. But yeah, they did a good job with their pressure package. But I thought our guys, overall handled some things pretty well on the fly and adjusted on the sideline.
Jake.
Hey, Shane. Braden got dinged for a couple of illegal formations on Sunday. Obviously, he's a veteran. Is that something he's just got to get cleaned up, or do you think it's like a product of the league cracking down on more of that stuff, especially with the right tackles, it seems?
Yeah, it's definitely a point of emphasis going around the league. So we just got to be all over it going forward with him and everybody, really, every game. So, yeah, it's definitely a point of emphasis.
James.
Shane, what do you think Tyler's just shown, or how has he grown? I mean, he was a guy who stood before us last year and had to kind of feel the weight of the season, and then now he's telling us he enjoyed getting in the end zone and wants to get in there a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to see a guy grow. He works at it really hard. He practices really hard, and so to get his opportunity these last couple weeks have been really good to see. And for him to get his first touchdown, career touchdown, getting in the end zone was huge. And he ran hard. Obviously, had some big runs in that game, but he's finishing runs and he's hitting the holes really well. So it's really exciting to see for him.
One quick follow up: when you have a guy who's been through again, like a pretty, I guess, tough time in the league. All guys go through it, but I know you say you believe these guys, they have the character, but to see it in real time, what was it like to see it for him to kind of just build himself back up? Because he said it took a while to kind of get, that confidence back.
Yeah, I think with anything, like you see, you just hit a little bit, but everyone's going to go through adversity, at some point in their career. So whether it's in college, you're going to go through it in the NFL at some point. And it's how you battle through that. And obviously, it was a tough way to end, last season for all of us. And for him to bounce back the way he's bounced back through the offseason, the training camp, and now to see it, come to fruition during this season and making the big plays, it's really special to see.
JJ.
Shane, on Anthony's 3rd and 4 run, Pitt kind of dug out Chop Robinson on that play. Just how much trust did you have to have in Pitt to go block a guy, 6'3", 250 on that play for that to work?
Yeah, it was the block of the game. Jim Bob showed it in the offensive team meeting this morning, and it was a unique look because we motioned, the back out, and then he widened out, and I was like, we're on the side. I'm like, this ain't going to be good. And then all of a sudden he came back into his spot that he needed to be at, somewhat needed to be at. And then Pitt got him pinned to get around the edge. I mean, it was a big time play by Pitt to get that thing sealed, to get that 3rd and 4 for sure.
Chap.
Shane, you're always preaching on preparation and process and all that. These one-score games that you guys have had all year, even last year, what can you point to anything? Lack of penalties? I mean, the turnovers are probably higher than what has led to this?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, Chap. I think you just hit it. I want to say, you guys can look the stat up. I think, though, that we are number 1 in the league in least amount of penalties, yardage. But I think that's a big part of it, is winning the turnover battle and eliminating penalties. Because, like I said, a lot of these games in this league are lost, not won, by mistakes, and you want to play smart football. And I think that's part of it. You got to preach that, but you got to go do it, and you got to be disciplined, and it happens on the practice field. You got to correct it on the practice field, whether you're moving the ball up or moving the ball back on an offsides or a false start, and making sure guys are all over it and play penalty free. But I think that I think that's a big part of it. And I think finding ways to finish and really, having that relentless pursuit at the end of games to finish those games. And do you finish every single one of them? No, you don't. But you try like crazy too. And our guys are resilient right now and finding ways. And we know we got a big one coming up this week on the road against Houston. And we got to find a way for sure.
Also, we talked to Matt Gay earlier, and I guess in his close games, you've got to have unwavering confidence in your kicker. And I realize kicking can kind of be week to week, but do you have that in him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a guy that's been doing it for a while, and he made some big time kicks for us. That one before half, obviously the 52-yarder right there to get 3 points was huge. I mean, it was a great operation by our offense there. Getting the big chunk play that we needed with the timeout, and then running the ball to get in better field position there. You work on those situations in practice over and over again. So when they come up, our guys are ready for them. And our guys operated that situation. And then Matt, finishing off right there to get the 3 points was big. And then obviously the last 2 field goals there in the fourth quarter were big to get the win 16-10.
Thanks, Coach.
Kevin?
Shane, what example can Grant Stuard be for your football team?
He can be an example for the entire NFL. I'll tell you what, the guy is relentless. The way he goes about his business, the way he practices is like nothing I've ever seen. Everything's 100 miles an hour, and he finishes on every drill. And to go out and have the performance that he did on defense, 18 tackles. And then I want to say he had 23 reps on special teams, might have been more. But the guy just works, and there's no secret to success when you work as hard as a guy like he does. It's going to come to fruition at some point, and so you get your opportunity to go in and go make plays, and that's what he did. I mean, he was flying around the field all day. He was a player of the game for us on defense. It's very special to see, his story and everything that's happened to him in his life, and the way he played in that game and getting his opportunity was special.
And then just to clarify, with Buck and Taylor returning to practice, and then just got to see how the week plays out for the game.
Yeah, we'll see. Yep.
Joel?
You guys forced Miami to take the timeout. We've seen you, do that before. Is that something where you just pick your spots in a close game when you want to do that?
Yeah, there's opportunities for them. They don't come up all the time, but there's spots on the field, spots and situations in the game where you can use those things. And does it work every time? No, but it came to fruition obviously last week. That was a big one there, obviously, because then they had no timeouts when they got the ball back. So it worked out obviously yesterday.
If nobody at all went out to cover Matt Gay, like no one, can Anthony snap it out there?
I ain't telling you guys that.
We'll do our last.
Hypothetically.
Well, what would you guys do? Would you throw it out there?
Well,
Uncovered?
Matt told us he would just go up and
Yes.
block like Pitt did at Tennessee. So he said he has the skill set to do
I
it.
trust my kicker.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
too, because you just said so.
yeah, you never know, right?
We'll do our last 2 questions from Jake and George.
So the NFL just announced that here in a couple weeks, you guys are getting flexed to Sunday Night Football in Minnesota. It's a couple weeks notice, but how does that change things from you starting, I guess now?
None really, to be honest. I mean, instead of just having a 1 o'clock, you got a Sunday night game now. So we'll have our same preparation, Jake, the whole way through.
George?
Shane, going back to sack avoidance, there was a free rusher on one of those plays. It looked like he hit Anthony from behind, and he's able to just kind of shrug that off. I mean, how unique of a situation is that, and what allows him to make a play like that?
Yeah, I think it's his strength and his size, to get out of those tough situations. And like I said, it was huge. He got out of a few of them yesterday, to avoid some very bad plays. So credit to him and his ability to get out of those things and avoid those situations.
There's Steichen talking about the game this coming weekend, the game that just happened. You know what? There's a lot of good going on with the Indianapolis Colts right now. Out of 0-2 to get to 4-3, that's pretty good. We know what's happened. We know that yesterday against the Dolphins, they were playing a team that frankly wasn't very good. It wasn't well coached, and the quarterback play was not good. But the defense stood up, and guys like Grant Stuard balled out and got the right result in this game, and that's the important thing. So, now it's Texans week. Colts put away that win yesterday, and we get on with the business, hopefully, of competing successfully with Houston.